Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Manifesting Money, how to attract abundance, create a consistent money flow, and find financial freedom. Today, we have the amazing Dr. Danielle Dowling with us, and I am so honored to have you. How are you?
Oh, hi, Anna. I'm so happy to be here with you. I am doing great. I just adore your energy, so it's such a treat. It's such a treat to be on the phone with you today. So thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said yes to my interview. And like I said, I've been your private stalker for a year now, and I'm so glad that I can actually, talk to you and actually interview myself. I'm so glad
love it.
I did that for myself and all of our audience so we can get what you're doing out there. I had a few questions for you, and we can jump in anytime you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. One thing we're focused on here at the Art of Manifesting Money is all of the internal shifts in order to see success externally. Can you tell us about how pairing your psychology and your coaching opens up a whole new world of opportunity and, change?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of my favorite questions, I think, to answer, and I'm always sharing this with potential clients that I get on the phone with or people that I meet, because often people would have worked with maybe a therapist or a psychologist, or maybe they've worked with a life coach, but they haven't necessarily worked with somebody that does both. And I've spent years helping people live richer, more joyful lives, and I have just seen the nearly magical pairing of psychology and life coaching, and I hands down think it's the best way to bring people into their happiest selves. So my background in psychology informs my work as a life coach and vice versa. So psychology, the best way to sum it up, I believe that it helps you resolve your past by working through the why of your current struggles. So psychology, not that all psychologists are necessarily this way, but psychology in general as a medium, as a vehicle of learning, loves to go backwards, right? It loves to do an archaeological dig of our past, okay? Now, life coaching, and psychology, I should say, is not as interested in the present moment or the future. It's a little more interested, in my opinion, in the past, which is very powerful, because so often that is where many of our limiting beliefs, our core self-concept, any maladaptive behaviors are usually born and rooted somewhere in our past. Now, life coaching helps us plan for the future and move toward the life that you truly want to be living. And for most of us, right, one would imagine that's a life of boundless joy and confidence and accomplishment, a life with less overwhelm and self-doubt and way more clarity and way more purpose. And life coaching, again, not that all life coaches are necessarily fit into this description, but life coaching in general as a medium is not as concerned with your past, right? It's much more interested in the present moment and the future. So what are you doing or not doing right now that will impact you getting to the life that you most want to be living and you most desire out there in the future, right? Also very much in the, in the present moment, but so when you put those two together, when you put these two practices together, you put therapy or psychology, however you want to refer to it, and life coaching together, I believe that we really get the best continuum of care, right? Because we're really looking at the whole spectrum. We're looking at the past, we're looking at the present, and we're also keeping an eye on the future and what we want to create. So I have just really grown into and feel very strongly that it is one of the safest ways to really bring about healing.
I love that because a lot of people separate the psychology and then, life coaching, like you said, but yet bringing them together is just, you get that one-stop shop. You can do all kinds of things with it.
Yeah, I mean, we could do all the goal setting in the world. We can come up with all the action plans, right? Which tends to be more life coaching related, right? Like goal setting and action plans and blueprinting is much more tools that one would find within a life coaching conversation. We can do that all day long, but if your psychology is set up in a way to self-sabotage and self-doubt, then usually our psyche will figure out a way to not follow through with the goals or the action plans, right? So if there's something if we don't really deeply believe that we deserve an abundant bank account, for example, if we don't deeply believe that there is no lack of money in the world and there's certainly enough of money available to us, if we don't deeply believe that there is no competition, right, then if we don't believe any of those things, then we can only pull in what we do believe. And unfortunately, and just to use the example of money, since that's where we are, many of us walk around feeling and having a very disempowered relationship with money. And much of the cause of our disempowering relationship with money is rooted somewhere in our past. So we picked up money behaviors and wealth consciousness behaviors from our parents and our caretakers. So usually how our parents spoke about money is how we speak about money. Usually how our caretakers treated money is usually how we treat money. More often than not, we're either in compliance of it or defiance of it, one way or the other. But, for example, my dad, I heard him say, while I was growing up, very often that money doesn't grow on trees. Money was not a joyous topic in my household. It always felt like it was there and then it was gone, and it was there and it was gone. And I also grew up in a town that actually there was a lot of money around me. So I kind of felt like everybody else had money except for me. So I grew up into an adult that felt like I only have just enough money to get by, and that all the real money belongs to other people, and that I have to work really, really hard for money because money doesn't grow on trees, right? But, I mean, we could set up all the financial planning in the world for me, right, i.e. action plans and blueprints and goal setting, but because my psychology is corrupt from the past, I would figure out a way to not follow through with those goals, even though they sound good, because on a belief level, I don't believe I'm someone that can have a lot of money. And so I've spent a lot of time actually correcting that. So I kind of give that whole big, long example just to kind of prove the point of the power of psychology and also the power of coaching. If we don't go backwards and look at some of where the kind of corrupt or maladaptive belief systems are, then the goal setting doesn't necessarily work. And then on the flip side, if we only go backwards and only look at maybe some of the corrupt belief systems, and we heal some of that, but we don't set out next action steps, then we might heal the past, but we don't get any closer to creating the present and the future that we most want to be living in. So really, when you bring those both together, you get such a great, beautiful circle of care. Yeah.
And that's basically your specialty with the financial and spiritual and lifestyle abundance is so powerful because you can bring all of the aspects together. And I totally love that because a lot of people listening, need some type of guide or some type of tool to just get them excited and fired up to let them know there is hope because we don't have to live like back in the day. The straightforward, you work so hard, you have to, if you're not working, you're not producing, and therefore you're not going to have. You don't have to do that.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're always at choice, right? We're always at choice, and we can decide in any moment that what we might have been taught and the way we might have been conducting ourselves, whether that's in regard to food or our bodies or money in our bank accounts or our career or our self-esteem, we can decide at any moment that that no longer needs to be our story. And now I think that it's a healing process and there's things to do after that, but I certainly think that it begins with this no longer works for me.
Yes, that's true.
I can decide differently for myself. I can choose differently for myself based on who I want to be and who I want to develop into, right, and grow into. And this disempowering story, ends today.
Correct.
So
draw a line in the
certainly.
sand.
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I don't mean to overly intimate that it, and then it's all over. I mean, I guess sometimes it could be, right?
Yeah.
I guess sometimes it is just a matter of, well, this no longer works for me, and I choose to now embody these characteristics. And then it could be that powerful in that instant at some points in your life. But then I think at other points in your life, it might be more of a spiritual journey where you do kind of, emotionally draw that line in the sand. And then, you might spend the next 7 months healing different aspects of that, right? And journeying through whatever that commitment is for you. But again, I think it all really starts with, nope, this no longer works.
Right.
I'm choosing differently. I'm that powerful. I can drop the story.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, we're doing it now. So you can start on your second secret.
Okay. So for my second money secret, it's really based on this idea of when money has a purpose, it can come into me today, right? So when money has a purpose, it can flow to me more easily today. I think many of us walk around with a general sense of we would like more money. And I think most people would probably admit to that more money would be great. But it's kind of like we just want more, but we're not entirely sure why we want the more, right?
Right.
And for me, I have noticed when I'm trying to create more money in my life, when I'm trying to pull in more money in my life, I've noticed that it is easier to manifest it and pull it in when I have gotten clear on a purpose for it. So sometimes I'll look at what's the money I need in the next week? What's the money I need in the next month? Or even a little further out, what's the money I need in the next 90 days? And if you're just beginning with this process, you might want to start with what's the money I need today? Or what's the money, what's the purpose of the money coming in this week? So what is it allocated to? And I'll give you an example. Okay. So I am looking to grow my team, right? So there's a digital marketing firm. Actually, I just hired them this morning. There's a digital marketing firm in Atlanta that I was introduced to that were just really appealing to me and really interesting to me. Long story short, for a 2-day intensive with them, it's about $5,000, okay? So that was money I wanted to create, right? I felt very, strongly about it. I'm like, I would like to create $5,000 because I want to hire this team in Atlanta. Okay, so I held that vision. That was the money I wanted to create. And then it was about a week and a half later that someone hired me for that exact dollar amount, right? And I don't know that it will always be that clean, but just to make a really kind of easy correlation. There's a trip that my husband and I want to go on, right, to Mexico. That costs a certain amount of money. So, right, when I'm looking at what's the money I want to create, I say, I want to create, this amount of money because Jose and I want to go to Mexico. I want to create this amount of money, this dollar amount, because I want to hire this team in Atlanta, right? I want to create this amount of money because I want to put it towards the down payment on our home. But do you see how I've gotten really clear about what the purpose is for that money? It's not just more money for the sake of more money or for the sake of quote-unquote safety, but for these real desires that when I fulfill them, they allow me to live in my life in a bigger way. They allow me to express right, myself in a bigger way. Like I'm really enjoying in the abundance of life. So that's really my secret tip number 2 is to really get clear on the purpose for your money and to journal about it. Just even start doing it in the morning for 15 or 30 minutes. And I heard a great mantra also, so this might be helpful to the community. And the mantra is, I have the power to manifest the exact amount of money that is on purpose for me today.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. So I have the power to manifest the exact amount of money that is on purpose for me today.
Purpose. Oh, great.
Yeah, I really like that one. I've been
that.
saying that to myself a lot recently because I just recently learned it. I was like, oh, I love that one.
Yes, I do too.
Right?
Perfect.
Yeah. So, and it reminds me to stay purposeful about the money. Okay, like, well, what's the money for? Because, again, so many of us, and I'm totally guilty of this, more so in the past, but it's not like it doesn't still come up. I'm only a human being. We just want more money so we can feel safe. And that's not necessarily a great reason for the money, because if we're getting spiritual about it, we're never not safe. And money can't make us something that we already are. So.
And I totally believe that as well as utilizing and figuring out what I want for today or the future, or, the purpose that I want it for, a trip or, business aspect, or just whatever it is that you need, because, I have manifested it in the past, but yet I know that if I get in scarcity, or if I see the money dropping in the bank, or I see something going on, that can trigger and it can cut off the flow. So we always have to be mindful. Yes,
and it does that for me too. It does that for me too, and I have to keep just going back to my practice. Like it's like the Science of Getting Rich. I'll read a page or two of it every morning.
Right.
Because like I'll create the money and pull the money in, and then a portion of it will get invested. So it comes in and then it's gone. And when it comes in, it's like, oh my God, it's so exciting. And like, you feel so filled up. And then when you go in and you invested in something, it's very easy to look at like the number go down in your bank account and go into scarcity. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've done it too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. And it's good, when you hear it from somebody and you're trying to find the tools that help you. And that's where we are coming to the audience today to help them, guide them, trying to come up with something that they can start right away, just to, let them know that there is a different way than what they're doing now that can, ease them into another way of living, another way of believing, and so forth.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely go grab the Science of Getting Rich. There's a free PDF online that anybody can download, and then I might start sitting down in the mornings and just journaling about what's the purpose of the money you want to create, and then maybe working with that mantra. That could be a nice little practice.
Oh, I love it, and I'm going to be doing it. I love the mantra, and I already have the Science of Getting Rich, which I have in my bag, and I carry it with me everywhere I go, and just have that reassurance and keep going. But I want to thank you so much for joining us and being such a breath of fresh air.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
And, I know that we're all wanting to know what you're going to be offering today as a free gift, and I just didn't know if you wanted to go over it now or it be a surprise.
Oh, no, sure. I'm happy to tell people. There's actually just so many free gifts on my website. The one that I'll mention first and foremost is if you go to my website, which is DanielleDowling.com, and you go to really any one of the pages, you'll see that if you sign up for my email list, then you will receive a 72-page ebook. It's just gorgeous on how to live your life on purpose. and it is tools and tips and techniques from 18 women that I just so admire, and it's just chock full of things you can do today to live your life more on purpose. So you can go grab that there. And then also on my website, there's a navigation tab that's titled Free Stuff. And if you go over to the Free Stuff page, there's a bunch of free downloads over there. So go and check that out as well.
Awesome. And I've done that, and I enjoyed your ebook and all of the different things that you have on your website. So I encourage everybody to go there and check it out, especially your blog. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It means so much that you say that. You put that stuff out there, and sometimes you're not sure, is it really resonating? Is it not resonating? And it's always when, I get to hear from people that it matters to them, that it means so much to me. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Well, thank you so much for coming aboard The Art of Manifesting Money.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.